What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for Kings of Napa Season 1, Episode 6. So, we start this episode off. We see a sequence. We have Bridget in the back of a police car, yelling and screaming, trying to get out. We see two police officers looking totally unbothered, and the camera pans around to see her mama laid out on the ground, having convulsions with foam coming out her mouth, and everybody, August and Dana and Vanessa are trying to help her, and they, standing around her. Now, the first thing I thought was, is this a dream sequence? Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, why are the police acting unbothered? Like, ain't nobody trying to get this woman CPR. They don't look like they are trying to give her any sort of medical attention. And again, police officers are trained in basic, like, CPR training and stuff like that. I'm not saying that they could have stopped her from convulsing, but they not doing nothing. Like, they just sitting in their police car like they are totally unbothered. So I was like, this can't be real. But anyway. So then we see 6 hours earlier. So 6 hours earlier, we see August and Dana arguing once again. Nobody is there. Everybody, they tell us that, Christian is away with his girlfriend, making up for being an ass last week. Yvette is at some sort of distribution situation. Rose is they don't know where the hell Rose is. Rose is supposed to be getting ready to get him a presentation on this new dessert wine, and she ain't nowhere to be found. Dana and August are back to bickering and doing what they do best, child. Now, there's a storm coming, and Dana wants to know what August is going to do about it. August said, listen, we already have the workers on it. Everything is all good. We ain't worried about it. We good as gravy. He said, yeah, because if not, that's it. Like, if those grapes get ruined in this storm, that's your ass. And, basically he was like, and the people at the top take the hit. So, it is what it is. So then we see he gets a text saying Rose is in New York. She just arrived in New York. And I'm like, how's she supposed to be there doing some sort of presentation and her ass is in New York? Well, Dana was like, well, I'll do the presentation for her. Even though it's not my job, I'll do it for her. So we see that we ultimately find out that her ass is in New York. She sends Dana a text saying, I'm in New York. I just needed some time to think. Because remember, the last thing we saw was her kissing Bridget, wanting to do more, but ended up pulling herself away. Now, while Dana is trying to go through this presentation for Rose, the housekeeper comes and lets them know that there's a problem down at the main office. Bridget is down there cutting the food. So they get down there, and Bridget is drinking out of a $1,500 bottle of wine out of one of her mother's antique wine glasses, talking about, yeah, I got some things to tell y'all, but I'm waiting for my mama to get here because I'm going to say it once and I'm going to say it one time, okay? Dana is like, girl, bye, because, he already pissed off at Bridget because he thinks Bridget is the one that is poisoning their vines, but he know for a fact that Bridget is the one pushing up on his wife. So he don't have no use for Bridget in no way, shape, or form. He basically tells August, okay, you handle this because I'm out. I'm not doing her. And Bridget tells him, listen, we can't call the police yet because we don't have enough evidence. Remember what happened with Otis? When we jumped the gun and we moved too fast, we saw what ended up going down with Otis. So her and Bridget get to talking, and they get to reminiscing, and they making jokes about her mother. If mom saw you drinking out of her wine glass, we know she talking about somebody needs to call CPS because I'm about to kill a child. They had this whole jokey joke, whatever thing. Now, her mother shows up, and her mother is like, girl, what's going on? Like, what was so urgent? What did you need? And she was like, oh, Mom, tell me something. Where's Grandma? And she was like, girl, what you mean where Grandma at? Like, what you talking about where Grandma? She was like, no, where's Grandma? And she was like, Grandma. And she said, well, I know where Grandma is. She's at an insane asylum up in New York. And everybody's looking at her like, girl, what? Grandma's in, and Dana and August are like, Grandma is in Paris. What are you talking about? And she was like, no, Grandma ain't in no Paris. Grandma is at a mental hospital in upstate New York. Isn't that right? And, of course, her mother is sitting there looking like, what? She said, who told you that? And here comes Vanessa. I did. So, listen. Then the electricity goes out, and the new security system has all of them locked into this one room together. But the other problem is the power also went out on the area where the grapes are being fermented. And Bridget tells them, listen, if that temperature gets above 90, it's a wrap for them grapes. And basically the whole batch gets destroyed. So we got a whole situation going. They're trying to get out. The way they got the security set up, they can't get out. So they stuck in this room. So I'm not about to go through all this back and forth. Okay? I'm just going to tell y'all what had happened. So a whole bunch of secrets was revealed. So first we find out that Bridget is like, I ain't about to sit here and help you and give you no extra help about them grapes, because for real, y'all really wasn't feeling me no kind of way. Y'all already, y'all, I don't know if this was before or after Dana revealed that they think she's the blackmailer. And she was like, ain't nobody blackmailing nobody. Oh, so that's what's going on? Y'all think I'm blackmailing? Y'all really think I would do that to y'all? Then we find out that both the mamas knew about, of course, about their mother being in the mental hospital, but that was a secret that they said they would take to that they didn't want to tell the kids. They didn't want the kids to know because she's sick. And come to find out, she really wasn't the nicest woman in the world before she got sick. So then Vanessa was like, I did take Bridget up there because Bridget needs to know the type of person you really are. She needs to know what you did. And Bridget mama was like, I ain't do nothing. And Vanessa was like, you know you killed our daddy. She was like, girl, ain't nobody kill him. So her version of the story, which is totally different from the version we got last week, was yes, she came home. She was 16 years old. She had been drinking. She had a little weed with her. And her and daddy got into the argument. The mama pushed the daddy somewhere in the melee. Daddy hit his head, and he ended up dying from that injury. But it wasn't her. It was the mama that did it. And Vanessa was like, you're a liar. It was you. She was like, girl, you weren't there. She said, Vanessa, you weren't even there. Like, how you gonna sit here and tell me what happened and what didn't happen? She said, you were not there. She said, well, you left me with that woman. You left me to deal with it. She said, because I blamed myself. So I ended up going south to get away from it. She was like, well, you left me with her. And she was slowly losing her mind. And it wasn't until I caught her walking down the street in her underwear talking to some imaginary people that I was able to get her into the hospital. But you left me there with her. So then we find out that this is where a lot of the anger with the sisters come from, because she feels like she left her to deal with the crazy mama. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. With the mama having a mental issue. But like I said, it sounds like the mama won't that nice to begin with. Then we find out that she said, how could you believe that? When have you known daddy to be anything other than gentle? When have you known daddy to be anything other than nice? Why would you think that daddy was the one that was trying to like attack me? Which makes me think, so you've been believing this version of the story all along, and you knew your mama won't shit? You just wanted to be mad at your sister. That's it. That's all. You just wanted to be mad at her. So then she says, well, I forgive you for the situation with daddy, but I can't forgive you for sleeping with my husband, because I feel like you did that on some old get back because of what happened. And she said, well, you know, me and your husband started sleeping together when you left your churn. Now listen, then we get into this whole story about how she married Reginald, had its first two kids, but then wanted to go find herself and become the Black Barbara Walters. And she had a job at a news station and had an opportunity to change the world. And yes, she left her family for a couple of years, but she came back. But y'all, can we please go back to the first episode? Did they or did they not say that this affair started when they were in college? And she was off on a trip with her sorority sisters. So when did you start sleeping with Reginald? Then she gonna say it only happened once, and that's when old girl was conceived. But in the first episode, did we not go down this whole checklist? Did Vanessa not go down this whole checklist of every time her husband was alone with her sister and how suspicious it was? And the sister ain't deny it. She ain't defend it. She ain't deny it. She ain't say it wasn't true. Y'all playing with me. So then we find out that she left her churn. And while she left her churn, the sister was taking care of the churn while Vanessa was off living her best dreams. But then she came back. And when she came back, then Bridget's mama left. And Bridget mama was like, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have left you. I just thought it was the best thing to do at the time. I had a lot going on. Then we find out about Rose and Dana talking about like all this is all well and good, but I'm still not here for it. Because she's still trying to push up on my wife. Like it's a whole lot, but she's still trying to push up on my wife. And they have this whole kumbaya moment, and everybody hugged it out, and everybody cried. And Dana was like, Bridget was like, "Are we good?" Dana was like, "Oh, we cool." I knew then, and he was on his phone because while all this happened, the phone service came back up, child. They saved the grapes, all that was good. But I knew then. I said Dana done called the police on that girl. He was too cool with it. He was like, "Oh, we good." I said, Dana asked to call the police, and he about to get her ass arrested. Because she's sitting there trying to act like she don't know why Dana got an attitude with her. She gets a text message, and it's Rose talking about I just had to get away, but I miss you too. Meaning, I miss you too with heart emojis. Meaning, you texted her and told her you missed her first. Listen, stop playing innocent, Bridget, and stop playing games and act like you don't know why Dana got a whole attitude with you. So, they saved the day. Everybody's cool again. They up at the house singing karaoke and shit. Dana is on the couch just waiting for the police to show up. He just know at any moment the police gonna show up. And then we get the ding dong at the bell. The housekeeper says the police are here for Miss Bridget. They end up arresting Bridget because they say that, because of course Dana says she's the one that's the blackmailing them. And that's where the whole family ends up. That's where the whole family ends up trying to, the mama chasing after Bridget. Bridget talking about, "Mama, I didn't do it. Y'all know I didn't do it." Next thing you know, the police push her mama. She falls to the ground, and she ends up having convulsions and foaming at the mouth. And that's where we came in on the episode. But I still don't understand why the police act like they didn't care and they weren't calling the ambulance. Even if that man pushed her, even if he did it out of anger, at the end of the day, he's supposed to act like he care. He's supposed to pretend like he care. Anyway, that's the episode, y'all. I don't know what else. I don't have nothing else to give y'all. I hope I gave y'all all the secrets. I feel like I missed one, but if I did, I'll get it to y'all next week. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.